So,
good afternoon, everyone. It's Graham Coath with another My Music, and in a minute, I'm going to be speaking to the wonderful Jen. But first of all, let's watch this.
I need to get going, Mel. See you later.
Jen Dixon, good afternoon. How are you?
how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Now, you're not disappointing. You've got instruments in the background.
I have.
Are these? Because this is a common theme within this show, which is that a lot of the time people have got instruments in the background. Are these all instruments that you play?
Yes, this is my little studio room where I write and record and produce and everything. So there's just like a couple of guitars, a bass, drums, just a keyboard, everything you need to write a song, really.
Yeah. Do you play all of those yourself? You class yourself as a multi-instrumentalist?
Yes, I wouldn't say I was fantastic at them all. My piano skills are pretty basic, but enough for what I need for my songs. I don't think I'd be good enough to play live. But drums, guitar, and bass, I'd happily play in a band or something like that. But probably not keys.
Oh, there you go. So I'm always interested in that. In terms of the piano style, are you stronger left hand or right hand?
Right hand.
Right hand, and this hand just bass notes.
Basic chords.
Yeah,
Putting two hands together confuses me as well. So
it does me.
I generally just play chords on one hand, and then the computer allows me to do everything that I need to do.
I know exactly where you're coming from. I love Jules Holland for its introduction of new music, but also just watching Jules Holland play piano. But I'm always amazed watching Jules play. I just don't understand how, because he's known for his left hand. I just don't understand how this left hand manages to do all of those complex rhythms with this hand doing something completely different. It just messes with my brain. So what was your first instrument? What?
Drums.
Drums was your first instrument.
Mm-hmm.
So there must be a story behind this, because not everybody starts off with drums.
Yeah. I mean, so I remember when I was young, my cousin used to play drums, and she I probably wanted to be a bit like her, and she taught me a couple of bits when I was like really young, and then when I was in year 11, when I was 11 years old, in year 7, I got drum lessons, and just 20 minutes once a week, all that sort of thing. And I got a drum kit about 3 years later, and then joined a band a year after that, and then just carried on playing, I suppose. But I think drums was also because you could hide at the back, couldn't you? And I always had really bad stage fright, so I thought drums was the best idea, because I could just sat at the back and no one would notice me. Which, actually, thinking about it, is completely wrong, because you're the noisiest.
Well, that is true. I mean, I did the same thing, but with DJing for a while. When it got to my sort of like main clubbing years, I was so bad at dancing. I only do, and I always only have done, dad dancing. I really can't throw shapes properly on the dance floor. But it just seemed like a natural idea to just get behind the decks, because that way you kind of look cool, and you're in the whole club vibe. And of course, you can come out occasionally and sort of like, for 2 minutes with friends. But it's like, I've got to get back and do some more DJing, which is fine, because then you don't have to dance in front of people.
It's a good idea, actually. I'm pretty terrible at dancing, so maybe I should do that as well.
Yeah. So take up DJing. That way you can go to clubs. Quite au fait, that's fine. You can go to clubs and everyone thinks you're really cool when you're hanging out in the club area, but you don't actually have to do the dancing. It's a really good idea. So were there any particular drummers that you were inspired by early on?
Buddy Rich was probably the best drummer I'd ever knew as a kid. Obviously, not around anymore.
No.
But I remember watching videos and things. He did a drum off with Animal, and I remember thinking that was really, really good fun. Obviously, as a kid, that sort of thing's quite interesting, and just drum soloing in general was just amazing. As I got older, people like Phil Collins, Neil Peart, Daniel Adair, sort of wide variety of drummers, really. But Buddy Rich was always sort of the one that I thought, wow, he's pretty talented. Obviously, never got anywhere near his level, but I don't think many people will.
Of course, we all want, we'd all love to have Neil Peart's drum kit. I mean, it's just ginormous.
Could we fit it anywhere? That's the problem. I couldn't even fit my drum kit's in the loft. I had to get an electric drum kit because I couldn't fit one in the room.
Yeah, no, it's huge. Now, you play drums. Were you ever tempted by any of the other percussion instruments as well, like glockenspiel or just drums?
Yeah, just drums. I wanted to be in a band and make noise and things like that. So I wasn't ever really bothered about any sort of, like orchestra side of things. I remember playing steel pans in school. That was really good fun, but I didn't ever think, I'm going to go buy a steel pan. I just played Clocks by Coldplay over and over and over again, and that was it I
played. Make a good ringtone, though, on the phone, maybe.
Polyphonic.
Yeah, exactly. So growing up, I mean, was it a musical household, though? Were the rest of the house into music at all or not?
No.
No.
I'm the only person in my family to play an instrument. My family did obviously listen to music. It would be strange if my family didn't listen to music. But,
it's not that strange. Trust me.
But my first concert was Steps.
Wow, was it?
Yeah. My dad was a big fan of Elvis. My mum was sort of more not sort of. It's only been the last 3 or 4 years that I've actually sort of found myself introduced to people like the Stone Roses, and it's like, why did it take me so long to understand that this was music? But if you don't grow up with it, you don't know, do you?
No. First concert was Steps. Why Steps? What who was into
I don't
Steps?
know. I think I was like 7 or something like that, and
you were into Steps.
Well, I think it was like a family thing. I think we went with another family, and it was like, oh, let's take them to the Steps concert sort of thing. And I think sort of it was just what you did then when you were like in the 90s and you were about 7 years old or something. They were the people to see, weren't they? Yeah,
well, definitely. I mean, so generally it was music that was on the radio and stuff like that was played in the house, was it? It was kind of general pop.
Yeah, X Factor. Or Pop Idol, as it was then, all that sort of stuff, mainstream stuff.
So when did you first think, I actually want to do this for myself? This is maybe where I want to go.
The first lockdown,
right?
Last year.
Yeah.
So I started. I did do sound engineering at uni, which I really enjoyed. I sort of fell into it. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. Did the degree in it and thought, this is really enjoyable. But then never really did anything with it. My work life went in a slightly different direction. And I thought, I'm going to start playing guitar and singing in open mic nights and stuff. So I taught myself guitar a bit in uni and just sort of muddled around. Dragged a mate along to an open mic night and said, will you play with me? Because I'm terrified. And did that for about 2 years. And then at the start of last year, I was like, right, I'm going to gig on my own. I can do this. And I did one gig. I was like, yes, I've got this. And then lockdown came and that plan went to, didn't go very well. So I was furloughed for like 4 months and live on my own. So I didn't really have anything to do. So I thought, I'll buy a load of studio gear, get my degree in some use instead of being in debt for nothing. And let's write some music, and that's where it started.
Oh, it's fantastic. And then, did you have a clear idea going forward with that of the kind of thing that you were going to write, or did that take a while to develop?
I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I've never written a song in my life, apart from like GCSE music where you had to write strange songs for criteria and stuff. But I'd never actually sat down and written a song. So I was like, right, how do I do this? And then I had to relearn how to sort of use the software again and mix everything, and how, you know, what sort of sound do I want to go for. And I probably wrote about 10 songs and then released one in October and still didn't really know what my sound was. And it's only really been in the last sort of 4 or 5 months that I thought, okay, this is the sort of thing that I'm going for. And that was sort of, I've released 4 singles now, and they're sort of a similar sound, I think.
Yeah. How would you describe your sound for someone that hasn't heard you?
Indie pop, sad banger, some, I don't know, sad indie pop stuff. Yeah, sing along stuff maybe. I'm not sure. You'll have to listen and tell me.
Yeah, I mean, well, people will obviously afterwards. I mean, are there any, as you've been writing, has that then made you look at anybody out there and go, I'm a little bit like this, that you'd never looked at before?
No, people have mentioned things to me. I get the Dido reference a lot,
right?
And I mean a lot, and I'm like, all right, not heard that one before. Somebody I said someone else the other day that I'd not heard of, and I've forgotten the name. But people often come to me and say, "Oh, you sound like this," and I'm like, "All right," and I'll go and check them out, and I think, "Oh yeah, maybe," but obviously, don't really want to have a sound like
that someone else is.
I want to be me, you know. But it's nice that people obviously relate me to other or to amazing musicians, because that's obviously something that you do strive for, to be on the same level as people. But yeah, I've never really thought of myself to be similar to someone else.
I wouldn't have said you were Dido, actually, ish, in your approach. I would say you're going more towards sort of people like Lucy Rose or someone like that, that's maybe got more of an indie edge to them.
Again, never heard, so I'll go listen after this. And then
there you go.
Yeah,
there you go. So, in terms of, you say you had to learn the process of writing. What has been the way that you naturally now tend to write? Because interestingly, a lot of drummers and or even a lot of singer-songwriters who are drummers at the core of themselves quite often write with drums first. Do you write with drums first or not?
Drums is always last.
Drums is last.
Yeah, I normally start with a guitar and just singing, or piano and just singing. Get a chord progression on the piano, stick it onto the computer. But quite a lot of the time, I'll just sit with my phone on record and just play guitar and just sing random stuff. And then I'll play it back and I'll go, oh, actually, I really liked that. And then I'll play back off that idea. Sometimes it's just whatever if I've had a really bad day and I just feel like I need to just have a bit of an outlet, then I'll just sit and play. Tends to be more mood driven than sort of, I don't really think about it. I don't write it the same every time. It's always different.
We have a question from the audience. Tune first or lyrics? That's a good question. Thanks, Ashley.
Oh God! Again, there's no definite. So sometimes I'll just sit and I'll think, do you know what? I'm going to write some lyrics, and then I'll put something to it. And then sometimes I'm like sat in the car driving around for work, and a tune comes into my head. So then, I record the tune, and then I go home and I'm like, oh, I can now write some lyrics to this tune. So there's never a set way of me doing it. I suppose it's just, I'd like a uniform way. I'd love there to be a way where I just write a banger every time. But in reality, it's actually me just getting really frustrated that what I'm doing isn't working, and coming back to it 2 weeks later and then deleting it and then starting something else. And there's never sort of just a pattern to it.
I think that's the same for a lot of songwriters, actually. A lot of musicians, they don't necessarily have a formula that works every single time.
If there was a formula, then we'd all be pretty successful, wouldn't we?
You'd all be successful. You'd be able to write a book. This is how to write a pop hit, which some people have written in the past, but it doesn't necessarily work. And I think the other thing is, and you probably have found this yourself, there's some times where you may start with something, a tune, then you write words to it, or you write words first and then you write a tune to it. And then by the time you put the two things together and you've muddled with it for a little bit, you end up rewriting the whole thing. because part of the idea works, part of it doesn't work. So you just go, you know.
Yeah, I've probably got about 30 sort of sessions on the laptop that are just me just singing along to a guitar or just a little bit, and I've just gone, oh, it's all right, but I'm not really feeling it, and then I just leave it, and then sort of a few months later I might go back to it and go, oh, actually that wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I'll work on that a bit more. And I suppose it just depends on where you are in like your life as well, and what mood you're in and how busy you are. Sometimes mentally you just think like this is rubbish, and then you might go back to it when you're in a better place and go, oh, actually that wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Now, given the fact that you said at the beginning of this that you wanted to learn to play drums because you wanted to be in a band and you wanted to go out there and etc. Do you ever think that you might expand what you're doing to bring in a band and maybe work with other people, co-write with other people?
So I've sort of arranged for a band for live shows. I have a guitarist, Phil, who helped me. I did a acoustic session for BBC Introducing, and he helped me with that, to just put like a bit of extra guitar on that. I thought this needs a bit extra. I don't know whether I'd write with another band. I've been in that situation before, and sometimes I feel like it's a bit conflicting. It can be quite difficult. I think I want to write my songs, do my songs, and then have a band behind me that can make them come to life. And obviously, from a live point of view, if they can add something to it that makes it a bit different, or just a bit more exciting, then they're more than welcome to do that. But I think at the moment I'm quite happy just sort of doing it all on my own. Maybe I'm stubborn and I just want to prove that I can do it. But yeah, at the moment, probably not.
Got some more questions, which are great. It's lovely when you get questions from the audience.
Yeah.
Where would you like your success to take you? You mentioned BBC Introducing. That's always great to get involved in BBC Introducing. Where would you like to see that head?
I mean, I think obviously the like everybody, the dream is to be a successful artist, and if I didn't have to do my day job every day, if being a musician was what I did as a living, then that would be fantastic. I mean, I could have done that as a session musician, or playing in bands, and just I'd been a general musician, but being like an actual artist where I record and people come to see my music for a living would be the dream. I think realistically, it's just for me to enjoy myself and have an outlet, and it is a hobby. If somebody notices me, or if I and picks me up and gives me a recording deal, then fantastic. But if not, if people are just listening to my music and they enjoy it, then that's everything I need, really.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, having been in bands where at uni age and things like that, it was funny living in the house at one stage. One of the guitarists in my band at one stage was also in an ABBA tribute band, which got annoying sometimes, listening to people practice ABBA 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Not that I have anything against ABBA. Really quite like ABBA, but 24 hours of ABBA day in, day out can be a bit annoying. But I always struggle with that concept that why would you want to do that? Why would you want to just be in a band and play other people's music, other than for the money? Because there's that thing about just doing it. You do it because you just have something to say, or you feel that there's some contribution to people's lives that you can make through making music.
Yeah, I think I always enjoyed being in like a pub band and just going out with friends in a band and just playing just to play, because that was always quite good fun. But I think as I got into a band that did go out and do like caravan parks and things like that, and just really lost the love for playing drums. I think that's where I just decided I wasn't going to play anymore, because it was just soul destroying, playing click track to just like songs that you didn't really like yourself, and you were just like, why am I doing this? Just literally just that over and over again for 2 hours. It's just soul destroying you. Like, I might as well be a drum machine.
I think that's the limit of my drums, by the way.
Well, go get yourself to a caravan park.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky that a few years after that, even though I'd sort of stopped playing, is I was still teaching and things while I was at uni. And a friend asked me to join his band because he was going to support a guy called Christopher Owens from the band Girls. And he asked me to be his drummer. So we did like a UK tour, recorded at Abbey Road and stuff. And he did quite well for a bit. And then that sort of came to a head. So I did come back to drums and did really enjoy it. But after that, I think I decided that I wanted to be the one that was at the front. And sort of that was always in the back of my mind. And now hopefully it'll come to some sort of fruition, but we'll see.
Well, I hope so. Having listened to your music, I think it's fantastic. And obviously I think, the fact that you've got now I know you've got this laptop full of potential ideas that you could be developed. We'd love to see that happen. So, really it's now that next break, isn't it? It's now the opportunity to spend a little bit more time doing this. What is it that you actually do during the day then? Just if you don't mind.
I'm an audiologist.
Oh,
so I work
well, that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's a spin-off to sound engineering in a way.
It is.
But yeah, I do hearing and that basically. So,
yeah. Well, so you know all about in-ears and making sure that you're not going to, as a musician, lose your hearing as well.
Yes. I don't always follow my own advice, but I should. But I'll pay for it when I'm older.
Trust me, you do.
Yeah. Wear
absolutely.
earplugs, guys. Wear earplugs.
Definitely wear earplugs. Don't use monitors. Use in-ears. If you're playing live, don't do what I used to do as a youngster, which is put your head into bass bins, because it's just not a good idea. It's really not. No, I have slight loss in one ear.
Oh dear.
That was after going and seeing an audiologist. There you go.
There you go.
To check it out. But it's not. So many musicians do it wrong. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I test my hearing quite regularly because I'm quite paranoid about it.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, I blame it on Motorhead. That's where I'm blaming it on. I had to go and interview Motorhead. Yeah, when I was, I think, 21, I was given a backstage pass to interview Motorhead I've ever been to. I stood right at the back of the hall, and it was still too loud. It still hurt my ears right from the back. How the people at the front...
Stops it from being enjoyable, doesn't it, when it's like that loud?
I know, exactly. How the people at the front actually had their ears anywhere near the amps, I just don't understand it.
They're all wearing hearing aids right now.
Yeah, they're all going, what?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, it is, trust me, it is a very healthy fear to have, that you'll lose your hearing. She asked another question which I find is quite interesting. What do you find the biggest obstacle in your creation? Do you struggle with inspiration? I don't think you do you? By talking to you, or do you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do. I go through phases. So like at the moment I'm not really on like social media very much. I decided to take a little break. I released my last single, did all the promo-y, all that sort of stuff, and then sort of was like, right, I need to sort of stop getting distracted and focus on some other stuff, like, you know, getting more songs together, all that sort of thing. And sometimes it is difficult because I think when you're sort of in when personally I'm in like a bad place, like emotionally, you know, if something rubbish has happened or something, the inspiration comes really, really easy. But when I'm in a good place, I don't get the inspiration to write songs. I feel creative, but I can't get the actual lyrics to come out as anything that means anything to me. And then I just feel like nobody's going to want to listen to that because it's a load of like jumble. I've just made it up. I really want to write something that's like means something. Yeah, I do I do go through phases of lack of creativity, lack of inspiration.
What do you do in those times? Do you have a backup plan?
I mean, sometimes I try and force it, and then I get annoyed with myself, and then get frustrated, and then I'm like, I'll never do music again. And then, and then a couple of weeks later, like I'm writing again, and it's fine. But what I tend to do is go and do other things that I enjoy. So I surf. So quite often to like clear the head, I'll go surfing. Maybe I'll just do some covers and just play music that I, not write, just play and just have some fun, jam with some friends, that sort of thing. And I also
Good idea.
Yeah, and I collaborate with other people as well. If I'm stuck, I'll just say, do you fancy writing a song together? And the song probably never comes up to anything, but just bouncing ideas backwards and forwards can sort of try and unlock that writing block, I suppose.
Well, there's a good little video. Here's a tip. There's a great little video by Natasha Khan from Bat for Lashes that you can find pinging about on the internet, which is her talking about when she had writer's block and she just couldn't get there. And she went and sought the advice of a certain lead singer from Radiohead.
Right. I mean, if we could all do that, that would
Mr.
be
York
ideal,
would be, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he gave her the advice. He gave her this bit of advice: paint.
Right.
Yeah. He said if you can't write, paint, or literally do something else creative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just carry on being creative, but in a different way, because it will come back to you. It's just very good advice, I think. Yeah. And I think that's just what you've said yourself there, that just go off, find something else that you can do, and just wait for it to happen, because it always does come back. I don't think, songwriting's, when you've got it in you, it's not something that ever disappears.
Yeah, I think I released when I released my third single, I remember saying to my friend, like, I can't write anything else. I'm really stuck. I don't think I'm ever going to have another single. I think that's me done. And then sort of a couple of months later, I was just playing around with some stuff and I was like, oh, I like that. And then literally within a couple of days, I'd written this song that I was like, this is my next single. And you sort of know, and that's the annoying thing for me at the moment, is I haven't hit that yet, where I've written something and gone, this is the next single. I've written something and gone, that's all right. But I'm getting frustrated that I'm not writing something that's not what I think should be released next. It's not big enough to be released. It's just an average song. And I want something that's going to sort of, be on par or improve on the previous songs.
Oh, it will come. It will come. And maybe actually some of those little ideas that you've put to one side are probably genius. Maybe.
I just need a lead singer from Radiohead.
Maybe. Yeah, exactly. Maybe sometimes it is just looking at it. And actually, that is where sometimes working with a good producer can really help as well.
It can, but again, like I'm so stubborn, because I'm in my head, I'm like, I want to do this myself. Like I want to write it, record it, produce it, mix it. Obviously, if somebody came to me from a label, or and said, we want you to write with these people and stuff, I'd be like, yeah, no problem at all. But while I'm sort of DIYing it, I'm sort of wanting to actually make sure that I'm doing it myself. And that's just at least, if I don't make it, at least I can say, well, I tried and I did everything that I could myself. But yeah, one day, obviously, I'll work with somebody that will hopefully improve things. But
once you get, 20 albums in, then you
probably, I'll quit by then.
you probably need it, you probably need a producer at that stage, because you're probably almost too close to yourself by then. So
I think the producer thing comes, like, for me, if somebody notices you and says, you know what, actually, you're a good musician, singer, whatever, you can write songs, that sort of thing. But obviously, to get to the next level, we want you to work with this person. And if they can obviously take you to that level where you can become more successful, then fantastic. But I think at the level that I'm at now, I think just the stuff in my bedroom studio will.
I think you're right. I think actually it's like anything else, isn't it? It's great when you work with people that have, much bigger expertise, and it just then, at that point, it then takes you up to another level as well, because you're learning from them as well, aren't you, at the same time? It's like when you play with musicians who are better than you,
always makes it better.
It does. I've never understood it when people choose to play with musicians that are worse than them, you know, to try and make themselves look better. That doesn't work. You want to play with people that are really great at their instrument, because that pushes you.
The people that I've picked to be in my band are fantastic musicians. Compared to me, they are really, really good, and it actually terrifies me to be stood at the front and thinking, oh God, I have to play guitar in time and sing, because I know myself when I'm singing and playing, if you put me to a click track live, I know that I'll slow down and things at certain
Stray all over the place.
Yeah, all over the place. But because I'm on my own, it doesn't really matter. But as soon as I'm in a band and I've got these amazing musicians around me, it's like, oh God, I'm really going to have to step up here and make sure that I'm tight. Which it'll be fine, like it will, but it'll be, you know, it'll be a learning process, and to have such good musicians behind me would benefit in the long run. So
what are your hopes for the rest of 2021 music wise? What's going to happen for you?
I mean, I had two aims. One aim was to get out and about with a band, which I still want to do, but part of me is sort of thinking now, you know, really those sort of situations I want to be doing for festivals and things like that, and sort of missed the boat on that this year. Obviously, everything was already sort of pushed back and booked from other times. It's quite difficult to get into festivals, and really what I think my aim now needs to be is to get more songs behind me. I wanted to release an EP by the end of the year. I think I'll still do that, but it's just looking at it technically, people don't listen to EPs and things anymore. They listen to singles on, you know, streaming sites and things. So technically I should probably just release 3 or 4 singles instead of an EP. But I think if I release sort of 3 or 4 singles, I then might put them into like a collective physical album so people can buy CDs and vinyl and things if they want. But I think
people definitely want. People definitely want. Yeah, no, absolutely. Unless you're Lord, in which case, because you know she's just released her new album.
Yes.
But the CD has no CD.
How did that happen?
That's, I mean, it's genius, isn't it? So I don't know of any other artists. I could be wrong. There probably has been.
So did they send out like a download instead of a CD?
You get a CD box, or a box that's the same size as a CD, so that can go in your collection, and it has an inlay thing, and it's got some postcard things and stuff inside it, and a card with the download.
That seems very wasteful, doesn't it?
And well, it's meant to be environmentally friendly because of the album being all about
But it would be more environmentally friendly if they just sent you an email.
Well, yeah, I haven't quite worked it out yet.
Don't quite get that. No,
I don't quite get that. I would have thought you'd either just go, we're doing no physical format whatsoever. It's just just download, or. But
hey, it got people talking about it.
Do you know what? It is clever. It is clever. I mean, her argument is that people do want a tactile thing, and they do. I think that's true. But maybe they don't need a CD, because they're going to they're going to burn the CD and put it on something and listen to it that way anyway. Personally, I still love a CD or a record. Love them, you know.
Yeah, I listened to CDs in the car when I had a CD player in the car.
Absolutely.
Quite missed that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it's all about, you know. And the thing is, it's actually, while you're driving, it's actually quite dangerous trying to flip around on a device trying to find a track for something. CDs, easy, you know, CD out, another CD in.
Just listening to Radio X all day long when I'm driving around.
Well, that's a definite good one. So yeah, I'd love to see some physical stuff come out from you. And remember, though, I've got a campaign going. So here's another tip. I've said this to several artists. That the other thing that you could do is bring out some merch. Right.
I've got a T-shirt that's about to be made, so there is going to be something. Brilliant.
And on the back of the T-shirt, what you want to do is I listen to Jen on Spotify. You see, so that way, for the Spotify generation. In fact, you could have like different platforms, different T-shirts. So people can proudly announce that they listen to you and stream you, but they've paid for the T-shirt. It's great, isn't it? It's a genius idea. Why is no one thought of that? It's free marketing for those companies as well.
Free marketing. Yeah, it's a good idea.
You should run a get in touch with Spotify and say, look, I'll do it, do your deal.
They won't even put me on their playlists, never mind reply to my emails.
Yeah. Well, maybe though, if you've got the T-shirt.
Yeah, that could be it. Yeah.
Maybe if you've got the Spotify T-shirt that's promoting Spotify and Jen at the same time, then this could be the way in. They'll start picking you up. I think that'd be a brilliant idea. But do support my friend here in terms of her music. Where do people go to get your music? Is it available for download to buy at the moment?
Yeah. So obviously all the usual Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, but you can go on my Bandcamp as well. So just I think it's jendixon.bandcamp.whatever. Just Jen Dixon on Bandcamp. You can buy it on there as well. My new one isn't actually on there, but it's going to get put on there this week. Now that everybody's streamed it plenty, I'm going to stick it on for people to download.
Do that, folks. Do go to Bandcamp. The reason I say do go to Bandcamp rather than anywhere else to do it, two things. One is a little bit of money. Secondly, the artist actually gets to know who you are. You see, because you actually have to sign up and put your details in, and then the artist actually gets to know who you are, and that's a wonderful thing because that then starts a relationship between you and the artist. And it means that they can go to a nice warm fuzzy place every evening knowing that they've got a growing group of people that love them.
Yeah, and follow me on the social medias as well.
Oh yes, please do.
Yeah, because you'll see
she might be back there soon
and things like that. I'm going to be back soon, putting pictures of chickens and stuff on again. It's the only reason people follow me, I think. It's because I have pet chickens. So.
Well, that's a great reason. What other artist does that?
Well, Tom Robinson from BBC Radio 2 actually saw my chickens and then proceeded to put a post on Twitter about me as a musician and things like that with a picture of a chicken. So it works. This is my brand.
It does. Absolutely. It's not so much a tweet from you then, is it? It's more of a, cock-a-doodle-doo.
Yeah. That's, wow. Oh dear.
Absolutely. It certainly has. Jen, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Thank you for talking to me about your music.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's been a pleasure. And I hope people after this will now go and, which is what this is all about, actually go and investigate your music, find out a little bit about you and download some of it so that, we grow that fan base. And hopefully you can come back and talk to me maybe in a year's time when the album's out.
Yeah, that could be an idea.
Because that will happen.
Yeah. You'll have to speak to my agent by then, though.
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely. Maybe I'll be your agent by then. Who knows?
I think I'll still be sat in my bedroom studio, to be honest, but we'll see.
No, we've got big plans for you, Jen. Just believe it. We'll be massive by this time next year. We'll be, main stage at Reading.
I'll do.
Bye for now.
Bye now.
Bye.